Martin had built a beautiful outdoor sleeping pen for his dog Rover. For years, his dog had slept in the pen without any trouble. But for the last few weeks, Rover had simply refused to go inside. Baffled by the sudden change in his dog's behavior, Martin decided to investigate. Martin couldn't believe his eyes when he looked inside the pen. Martin had enough of seeing his dog sleeping outside in the cold. He had built the pen for a reason, but now his dog just straight up refused to go inside. It wasn't as if it was a nice hot summer day as well. It was the middle of winter, and his garden was covered in snow. Martin knew he had to do something. He stepped outside and was instantly hit in the face by the cold wind. He walked over to his dog, who was sitting underneath the little patio roof of his pen. He perked up when he noticed Martin and wagged his tail excitedly. Martin had a bag of treats in his hands, hoping he could bribe Rover to go inside the pen with his favorite food. He petted Rover lovingly and played with him for a bit, throwing a tennis ball through the garden. He gave him a few treats, leaving him wanting for more. Then he threw a few treats inside the pen, expecting Rover to run after it. But instead of running inside his pen, Rover's tail stopped wagging, and he sat down in front of the doorway. It was definitely not what Martin expected would happen. He threw in a few more treats, but Rover didn't move a muscle. Martin couldn't understand what had caused the sudden change in behavior, so tried to gently push Rover inside the pen. But instead of giving in, Rover jumped up and ran away. And he didn't just run into the garden. No, he jumped over the fence and ran into the street. Martin instantly panicked. Rover was a big German shepherd, and even though he was the most kind and gentle dog in the world, he could easily be seen as frightening. One wrong move from Rover and he could be put to sleep. So Martin quickly ran after his dog, but as he had feared, Rover was already out of sight. Luckily, Martin had put an air tag on Rover's collar. It was something he had done purely just in case, never expecting ever having to use it. He quickly ran back inside and grabbed his phone to look at the tracker. Rover wasn't very far, but he was moving at high speed. It almost seemed like he was trying to get away from his pen as fast as he could. There was something inside Rover's pen that scared him. But what could it be? Martin knew he had to catch Rover first, so he hopped on his bike and began to race after him. Martin had an electric bike, so he managed to catch up to Rover rather quickly, but another problem suddenly surfaced. How could he catch Rover if he didn't stop running? There had to be a way to stop Rover. He was running like a lunatic, swerving through passing cars and almost running over people on the sidewalks. It was pure chaos, and Martin was the center of it. Everyone yelled at him to get his dog under control. What else did they think he was trying to do? There was no way he could clip Rover's leash onto his collar at the speed he was running, so Martin had to think of something else. He also couldn't stop, as he had to stay at Rover's speed. He decided it was best to guide Rover in the direction of a dead end, an alleyway where Martin could corner him and, hopefully, calm him down. Martin managed to drive closer to Rover so he could steer him into the next best ally. He had no idea if it would have a dead end, but he knew he had to get Rover off the main street. He sighed in relief when he managed to do it, but that feeling quickly faded when he realized the alleyway was long and narrow, with no end in sight. Martin's breath formed clouds in the cold air as he chased Rover down the alleyway. His heart pounded, mirroring the rapid footsteps that echoed off the narrow walls. With each stride, Martin's concern for Rover's safety deepened, the biting cold a harsh reminder of the urgency to bring his beloved dog to safety. Just as Martin's hope began to wane, an unexpected door swung open directly in Rover's path. The timing was so precise that Rover, unable to stop, collided with it and came to a sudden, jarring halt. The abrupt end to the chaotic dash through the alley sent a wave of shock through Martin. Martin rushed to Rover's side, his heart in his throat. The fear of injuries from the collision consumed him as he knelt beside Rover, who lay sprawled on the ground. The silence that followed was heavy, filled with Martin's rapid breathing and the distant sounds of the city. To Martin's immense relief, Rover was shaken but unharmed. The person who had opened the door appeared, equally concerned. Their eyes met, and a mutual understanding passed between them. Both were visibly relieved that Rover had not been seriously injured in the unexpected encounter. As he calmed his panting dog, Martin realized the open door might have saved Rover from further danger. The unexpected obstacle had halted what could have been a much more perilous situation. Martin felt a surge of gratitude towards the stranger, whose timely action had offered them an unforeseen respite in their frantic night. With gentle hands, Martin examined Rover, searching for any signs of injury. His hands trembled, not from the cold, but from the relief that washed over him as he found Rover unharmed. The scare of the collision had been great, but thankfully it left no physical marks on his loyal companion. The woman who had opened the door approached them, her expression a mix of concern and curiosity. Martin quickly explained the situation, expressing his deep gratitude for her unintended yet timely intervention. Her accidental act had inadvertently prevented a possibly worse scenario for Rover. Martin shared with the woman Rover's recent odd behavior and his outright refusal to enter his pen, sparking a visible interest in her. He recounted the nights of Rover choosing the cold over his shelter, puzzling both of them. It was a mystery that had led them to this unexpected moment in a dimly lit alleyway. The woman's concern for Rover was evident as she listened to Martin. Her curiosity about the story and her empathy for Rover's plight deepened the bond of concern between them. It was clear that she was not just a passerby, but someone who genuinely cared about the well-being of others, even strangers and their pets. Reflecting on the evening's events, Martin and the woman acknowledged the serendipitous nature of their meeting. Grateful for the outcome, they marveled at how a moment of potential danger turned into a fortunate intervention. It was a reminder of how unpredictable life could be and how acts of kindness could emerge from the most unexpected situations. Rover, still trembling from the unexpected event, tried to find solace in Martin's presence. Martin, understanding his pet's distress, gently stroked Rover, speaking in hushed, reassuring tones. The simple act of kindness seemed to wash away some of Rover's anxiety, his breathing slowly returning to normal as he nestled closer to Martin. With careful movements, Martin clipped the leash onto Rover's collar, a symbol of their connection and his commitment to Rover's safety. This act of securing the leash was more than just a precaution. It was a promise from Martin to Rover that he would protect him from further harm. Martin shared with the woman the perplexing events that led to Rover's panic. His words painted a picture of confusion and concern, detailing the sudden change in Rover's behavior and his refusal to enter the pen. The recounting highlighted Martin's deep care for Rover and his bewilderment at the situation that had unfolded. The woman listened with increasing empathy, her concern for Rover deepening as Martin recounted their harrowing night. This shared moment of understanding bridged the gap between strangers, united by their concern for Rover's well-being and the strange circumstances that had brought them together. As they prepared to part ways, Martin expressed his gratitude to the woman once more. Her unexpected role in the night's events had not only halted Rover's flight, but had also provided them with a momentary safe haven. Martin's words of thanks were heartfelt, acknowledging the positive impact of her accidental intervention on their tumultuous night. The quiet streets seemed to echo the solemn mood between Martin and Rover as they made their way back home. The night's events hung heavily in the air, an unspoken tension that mirrored the uncertainty and concern in Martin's mind. This silent journey was a stark contrast to the chaos that had preceded it, marking a reflective path towards seeking resolution. As they walked, Martin's thoughts were consumed with trying to understand what had caused Rover's fear. The silence around them felt charged with Rover's unvoiced distress and Martin's growing concern. This introspection was not just about the night's scare, but a deeper worry for Rover's well-being and the unseen threats that lurk in familiar spaces. Rover's pace towards home was noticeably slower, his steps hesitant and lacking their usual vitality. This reluctance was a clear departure from his earlier frantic escape, reflecting a deep-seated anxiety. Martin observed this change with a heavy heart, recognizing the fear that still gripped his companion despite the safety of their proximity to home. With home drawing near, Martin's resolve to uncover the root of Rover's fear solidified. He mentally prepared for the investigation that lay ahead, determined to confront whatever had driven Rover to such a state of panic. The prospect of delving into the unknown was daunting, yet Martin's dedication to Rover's safety overshadowed any apprehension. Upon reaching their home, Rover's immediate refusal to step into the garden was a telling sign of his lingering fear. The once familiar and comforting space now seemed to harbour an invisible threat, with Rover's adamant stance serving as a silent alarm. Martin, faced with this unexpected challenge, knew that the night's ordeal was far from over. Despite Martin's coaxing, Rover steadfastly refused to step into the garden. With a heavy heart, Martin secured Rover to a pole outside, ensuring his safety while preparing to confront the unknown alone. The stark refusal hinted at a deep-seated fear, one that Martin was determined to uncover, flashlight in hand, as he approached the pen's entrance. With only the beam of his flashlight cutting through the darkness, Martin stepped into the pen. Each step was tentative, guided by the need to understand what had turned this once safe haven into a place of dread for Rover. The silence of the night enveloped him, punctuated only by the sound of his cautious movements. As Martin advanced, the oppressive darkness seemed to echo Rover's terror. He moved with deliberate slowness, his senses heightened, every shadow a testament to the fear that had driven Rover away. The darkness inside the pen felt alive with unsaid threats, wrapping around Martin with an intensity that mirrored his growing apprehension. Martin noticed the treats he'd thrown earlier, now untouched and scattered. This discrepancy added another layer to the night's unfolding mystery. The treats, meant to entice Rover back into the pen, now lay as silent witnesses to the fear that had kept him away, deepening the enigma that Martin was desperate to solve. A sudden, piercing screech shattered the quiet of the garden, sending a jolt of fear through Martin. The sound, unnerving and close, connected Martin to the palpable dread that Rover must have felt. This chilling discovery in the darkness brought Martin face to face with the source of Rover's fear, a moment that tied their experiences together in shared apprehension. As Martin continued his search, the screeching echoed through the night again, each occurrence setting his nerves further on edge. The sound, both alien and terrifying, seemed to bounce off the walls of the pen, creating an eerie symphony that underscored the urgency of his mission. With each screech, the stakes of his investigation seemed to grow, pushing him deeper into the mystery. Hearing the screeches, Martin felt a surge of empathy for Rover, understanding the primal fear that must have driven his companion. This instinctual terror, now shared between man and dog, bound them even more tightly together in this moment of crisis. Martin's resolve was tempered by this empathy, fueling his determination to face whatever lurked in the darkness. Despite the fear gnawing at his own courage, Martin's determination only solidified in the face of the unknown. He moved forward with a resolve steeled by the need to protect Rover, his sense of duty overriding the instinct to flee. Each step was a testament to his commitment, a pledge made in the heart of darkness to safeguard his loyal friend. Guided by the haunting screeches, Martin edged closer to their source. With every step, apprehension twisted tighter within him, a tangible reflection of the unknown dangers that lay ahead. Yet, it was this very sound that beckoned him onward, a siren call leading him through the night towards a revelation that seemed both inevitable and terrifying. Prepared to confront the source of the fear, Martin's bond with Rover became his guiding light. The loyalty and love he held for his dog propelled him forward, driving him to face whatever mystery the darkness concealed. This commitment to Rover, stronger than any fear, was a beacon of courage as Martin braved the unknown, ready to uncover the truth. The screeches intensified, becoming a harrowing soundtrack to Martin's exploration. Louder and more frequent, they seemed to envelop him, adding a layer of urgency to his quest. This cacophony, while unsettling, pushed Martin forward, a reminder of what was at stake and the pressing need to resolve the mystery for Rover's sake. Amidst the darkness and the unsettling noises, Martin felt an indomitable connection to Rover. This bond, forged in love and mutual trust, became his beacon, guiding him through the night. Their shared experience of fear and determination intertwined, propelling Martin to confront the unknown, driven by the unspoken promise of protection he had made to his faithful companion. As Martin drew closer to the source of the screeching, his adrenaline surged, mingling with a protective fervor. This moment, teetering on the edge of revelation, was charged with anticipation. The darkness seemed to thicken, and the air held a palpable tension, as if the night itself was holding its breath for Martin's impending discovery. Finally, Martin stood at the brink of understanding, the cause of Rover's terror now within reach. The screeching had led him here, to this pivotal moment where fear and curiosity collided. Standing in the heart of the mystery, Martin prepared to confront the source of the nocturnal disturbances that had so deeply affected Rover. The revelation of what had been causing the screeching filled Martin with a mix of relief and empathy for Rover. Understanding dawned on him, illuminating not just the darkness of the pen, but also the reasons behind Rover's distress. This clarity brought a sense of closure and a deeper connection to Rover, as Martin finally grasped the full extent of his companion's fear. With every inch Martin moved closer, the screeching grew more intense, fueling his anticipation. The sounds, now almost palpable in their intensity, seemed to pull him forward, urging him towards a discovery that felt both inevitable and ominous. This culmination of his journey through the dark, guided by the need to protect Rover, was marked by a crescendo of both fear and determination. Amidst the enveloping darkness, Martin's courage did not wane. It grew stronger. Each step, guided by the light of his flashlight and the resolve in his heart, was a testament to his unwavering determination. He was driven not just by the need to uncover the truth, but by a profound commitment to safeguard Rover from the unseen threats that lurked in the shadows. In a moment that seemed to suspend time, Martin came face to face with the source of the terror, a protective mother owl. Her fierce eyes met his in the dim light, and the realization of her presence and what it meant hit him with the force of a revelation. This was the guardian that had instilled such fear in Rover, a natural embodiment of maternal instinct. As Martin stood before the owl, the pieces of the puzzle fell into place. He understood that the owl's aggressive behavior was rooted in the fierce protection of her nest. This revelation shed light on Rover's fear, transforming Martin's apprehension into understanding. The garden, Rover's realm, had become intertwined with the wild, manifesting in the protective stance of the mother owl. Recognizing the owl's role, Martin felt an unexpected kinship with the creature. In her, he saw the wildness of nature asserting itself within the confines of his garden. This guardian of the night, with her piercing screech and protective gaze, was not just a source of fear, but a reminder of the intricate connections between his world and the natural world around him. Upon discovering the mother owl, Martin's perspective shifted. He recognized her not as a threat, but as a guardian, fiercely protecting her territory just as he would protect Rover. This realization brought a sense of respect and understanding for the owl, acknowledging her role in the natural balance of his garden's ecosystem. Understanding the owl's protective instincts, Martin carefully retreated from the nest area, ensuring not to pose any threat to her or her eggs. His movements were slow and deliberate, guided by a newfound respect for the owl's space and a desire to coexist peacefully within the shared environment of his backyard. Back in the safety of his home, Martin pondered solutions that would ensure the safety of both Rover and the owl. His thoughts were focused on creating a harmonious environment that respected the needs of his canine companion and the natural wildlife that had made their home within his garden. Upon reuniting with Rover, Martin offered soothing words and a comforting embrace, reassuring him of his safety. This moment of reunion was filled with mutual relief and understanding, as Martin shared the discoveries of the night, promising Rover that measures would be taken to ensure such fear would not grip him again. The challenges of the night served to strengthen the bond between Martin and Rover, a testament to their shared resilience. This ordeal had not only brought them closer, but also deepened their connection, rooted in mutual trust and the unspoken promise to always protect and care for each other amidst the mysteries of the natural world. As dawn broke, Martin made the call to animal rescue, his voice heavy with the weight of his decision. Arranging for the owl's careful relocation was bittersweet, acknowledging the necessity of the move for the safety of all but feeling the pang of loss for the wild guardian of his garden. Martin watched silently as the animal rescue team gently secured the owl and her eggs. The mix of sadness and respect he felt was palpable, a silent farewell to the fierce protector who had unknowingly taught him so much about the delicate balance of nature and the unexpected encounters that enrich our lives. With the owl and her eggs relocated to a safer habitat, Martin took preventive measures to ensure the garden remained a sanctuary for all its inhabitants. He reflected on the importance of coexistence and the lessons learned in maintaining the delicate equilibrium between human spaces and the wild. In the quiet that followed the owl's relocation, Martin found himself deeply moved by the events of the last night. His appreciation for the natural world, with its intricate and often unseen relationships, had grown. The garden felt different now, alive with the memory of the night's guardian and a renewed sense of wonder and respect for nature's intricacies. As Rover cautiously returned to his pen, the garden's atmosphere was one of tranquil reassurance. This return marked not just the restoration of physical harmony, but a deeper emotional reconciliation with the space. The garden was once again a place of peace, a testament to the resilience of both its human and animal inhabitants in the face of nature's unforeseen challenges. Rover, with cautious steps, reclaimed his spot in the pen, now reassured as a place of safety. The garden, once a scene of unexpected fear, had been transformed back into a sanctuary. This return was a silent testament to the resolve and care that had restored his sense of security, allowing the rhythms of daily life to resume with a newfound peace. Every now and then, a glance towards where the nest once perched served as a gentle reminder of the night's unforeseen events. These moments, though fleeting, brought back memories of the adventure shared between Martin and Rover, a night that had tested and ultimately deepened their bond with each other and the world around them. In the quiet that followed, Martin reflected on the profound lessons of coexistence learned from the encounter with the owl. It was a reminder of the delicate balance between human and nature and the respect that must be maintained for the wild spaces that intersect our lives, teaching him the importance of understanding and harmony with the natural world. The unexpected guardianship of the owl had unveiled a layer of the natural world previously unappreciated by Martin. This experience fostered a newfound respect for the intricacies of nature's guardianship, illuminating the depth of connection that can exist between humans and the natural world, and sparking gratitude for the lessons learned in the most unexpected of circumstances. As Martin and Rover moved forward, their journey through fear and discovery had culminated in a strengthened bond. This shared experience had not only brought them closer, but had also enriched their understanding of the world around them. Together, they embraced life with greater empathy and a renewed sense of connection to the natural world, forever changed by the events of one transformative night.